Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for joining us. One more episode of Power Talk. Today we have my wonderful colleague Feher, and we will have some fun into the legal environment. So, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Feher, thank you so much for being with us in
My
our Power
pleasure.
Talk.
My pleasure. It's very exciting to be here. It's a very interesting format we're doing, but I'm excited to be here and explain
Yeah,
everything we can. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the format started because of all this wonderful environment, right? I
Yes.
mean, usually we will do this face to face in my office or in an open environment, right? But at this point, we are sitting at the convenience of home and we are doing it. The goal is, again, get to know you better, but eventually benefit the viewers, right? So let's get into it. The first question, obviously, I ask every wonderful person on the interview is, who is Feher? Please take it on.
So who is fair? That's a good question. I'm pretty sure I haven't figured that out myself entirely yet. But I'm a fairly straightforward, very simple person. I enjoy working. I enjoy spending all my time with my family. I have a little baby daughter right now that you know, any second I can, I'll try to spend time with her.
God bless. God
Yeah,
bless. Yeah.
thank you. And I spend pretty much all my time with my parents. My parents live a few blocks away from my house, and my sister's very involved in my life, and my mother-in-law. So I'm very family oriented. I have a wonderful set of friends too. We're very close. We talk every day. I have a even better set of I'm not going to say even better, but I have a set of work colleagues and work friends and things like that pretty much all day throughout the day. I'm on the phone with them.
Like me,
Like you, like everyone, I'm not like, yeah, it's just,
of course.
you're
Of
one,
course.
you're of course one of them. And I love, talking, and I love explaining things and just keeping up with people and things. So, to better, answer your question, who I am, again, simple, straightforward. I enjoy reading. I'm a huge history buff and things like that. Big into movies. I enjoy. I did used to enjoy working out quite a bit. I like going to the gym,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
taking care of
Yeah.
my body. We're waiting for COVID to end for that
They
to
are
start.
all close, my friend. Yeah.
And yeah, that's
That's
just
it.
that's it. That's all I can say for now.
No, no, that's a great description. Thank you. You didn't focus on being a lawyer, and it's good to understand person from their own perspective rather than like we are explaining in a resume, who am I, right? So
Exactly.
talk to us about why becoming a lawyer, why not doctor, engineer, and all those wonderful professions.
So when I was growing up, one of the things that I was always kind of taken by was the computer, actually. So for the longest time growing up, everyone just kind of assumed I was going to go into like computer
Yeah,
programming or hardware or something like that, because my entire life was computers. I would put them together, take them apart, and this is back in the early 90s that we're talking about. I was taking apart computers, and then my dad started a computer business, and I helped him out, and I learned
yeah,
how to fix them and things. So I was very taken aback. But then later on in my life, after university, I started a business. And, it was like a small business. I had a few stores and things like that. And it was really during that process that I got to interact with a lawyer the first time. And it was in the process of selling the business that I kind of realized, like, hey, like these lawyers, they're kind of involved in all of the important, periods of my life. If I'm buying a business, if I'm planning out my estate, if I'm buying a house for my family, if I'm selling a house, if
yeah.
I'm taking out a mortgage to, start up my business or bring my family over from every single step of the way, there's actually a lawyer kind of helping out. And that's what really drove me. I was never one that was too interested in criminal law or anything like
Yeah.
that, or litigation. I was never that person. I was more interested in helping people kind of achieve certain things throughout their lives, whether that's buying a house or securing that mortgage or getting money or buying a business. Those are the things that mattered to me. That's really drove me to become a lawyer.
Wonderful. So now, as we are talking about, uh, or we were talking about earlier, so what are the current challenges for lawyers and how you or your organization is dealing with these challenges?
So there's a couple of different things that I'll talk about on this. So there's different areas of law, obviously, and every kind of lawyer, whether it be a litigation lawyer or a family lawyer, is impacted differently from how COVID kind of came about. It kind of shocked the Ontario court system. Ontario court system was not ready for something like this, and to be
Wow.
honest, the Ontario court system sitting about 15 years behind where it is. It mostly still operates on facts, and it still operates, on a very archaic
Wow.
system.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So within a period of about 25 to about 30 days, you saw the Ontario court system suddenly move to Zoom, and you see judges like sitting in robes, on Zoom the way we are right now,
Yeah.
taking bails and things like that. And for the litigation side, it's been okay. There's been certain changes. The litigation lists have kind of moved. Court dates are a little bit of an issue right now, but from what I understand, that portion is moving along. For most lawyers, though, we were never actually impacted the way other businesses were from COVID. We were just deemed essential from the start. And I'm not going to say that criminal lawyers and things like that haven't been impacted, because I know they've been impacted severely. But from business and corporate and real estate lawyers, we kind of had a different impact so far on our businesses. And for us, the main thing was, how do we accommodate all of the things we used to do when now suddenly we can't meet with people? So pretty early on, we saw a bunch of financial institutions initially say, okay, well, we will allow digital signatures. Previously, lawyers were never allowed to, provide digital signatures. Then the Law Society came about, and they said that, for the time being, the Law Society, by the way, never gives lawyers a specific answer. They give you a kind of a jumbled answer, and from that, you are kind of expected to take a risk based on their, kind of ambiguous statements on things. But essentially what they said was that our ability to verify identity doesn't directly correspond to us kind of sitting in front of you and meeting you face to face. So there's been challenges kind of dealing with identity verification, which is the most important thing, I think, in like most transactional law, because we don't know who's sitting on that other side. But I think through the process of COVID, we've come to come up with solutions that have allowed us to kind of move forward. So me personally, I've completely moved on to DocuSign now. I load up the entire set of documents that we previously used to, and we just send it out. And then just the way I'm doing with you right now, I'll sit through, I'll read through everything, and just make sure that the client understands it. On the protection side, we aren't protected in the same way, in that we get to look at your ID, or we get to verify things, or feel the paper, which is certain ways that lawyers are kind of, or not lawyers, but title insurers and certain types of people kind of trained to detect identity fraud. But I think for the time being, we've adapted pretty well onto the digital side, and we've been okay. Yeah, we've been moving.
So client side, I know you deal in businesses and with businesses and real estate. What about on their side? I think you briefly touched on it, but how are they being affected, and how are you helping them?
So there's a few challenges that businesses and on the real estate side, purchaser sellers are kind of dealing with at all times. So purchaser sellers are dealing with a lot of issues where, if they sell a property, the tenant is there. There's no obligation for the tenant to leave at this point. So there's a challenge, and initially there's been a series of kind of challenges, and no one's quite sure how to deal with this, because ultimately it's about the health and safety of the individual more so than maybe protecting the transaction, right? On the commercial side, what we've noticed is a lot of commercial tenants aren't sure of what to do, really. Commercial landlords have been offered a subsidy to kind of subsidize a portion of the rent up to 50%, and then 25 is supposed to be taken care of by the landlord, and then 25 by the tenant. But we aren't exactly sure of how that's going to work. No one, there's general guidelines from the government of Canada, but there's nothing specific out there yet. And until there's a general uptake from landlords on this, we won't see what's going to happen in the future. So there's a lot of different challenges on both sides. There's been no support for purchasers in new home construction. For example, they purchased last year, they put a deposit down. They're still expected to close right now. The builders are not giving extensions. They're giving no deferrals or anything like that. So everything is still supposed to move the way it is, but then we have these, So a lot of challenges, but lawyers and keeping open communication between all parties is very important, kind of dealing with this.
And thank you. That's interesting to know, and people would love to understand these points.
Yeah.
The last part, I think I just want to know, how does the future look like for you and clients? Any thoughts, final thoughts on that?
Final thoughts, just quickly. I see the future moving more and more towards a digital realm. There will be more and more, I think, things spring up like a online identity verification service.
Yeah.
I think more lawyers will be willing to work with clients outside of their general jurisdiction. I'm based in Mississauga. Maybe I'll work with someone in Thunder Bay more now.
Yeah.
And I find that it's really forced the legal profession, which is very old school, very archaic, and very resistant to change, to kind of be forced to move into this direction now towards modernity and kind of moving towards technological advancement, which we resist at every opportunity.
No, and that is a good thing, because a lot of times people are feeling it's all doom and gloom. But as I'm talking to different entrepreneurs, what I found is actually there's so many opportunities coming up with all this. As you just mentioned, like you no longer to deal with people just in your city. You can now deal with people outside, as long as you can verify their identification and you are able to explain them everything properly and get online signatures, right?
Of
So
course, yeah.
The whole system has become so simplified, and that's where I think
Exactly.
I feel on one side it is a difficult challenge for all humanity, COVID-19, but on the other side there's a lot of opportunities coming which will be beneficial. So yeah, those are all my questions. I think it's short and simple, the way you explained everything. So thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate you having me. It was a great honor to be able to talk a little bit about my little slice of life, and appreciate it. Yeah.
No, and it's a pleasure is all mine. I mean, all the wonderful people I'm asking, they're coming, giving me some of their time, and all the knowledge is amazingly valuable. So guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Power Talk. Again, Awais, Surahyo. Please like, comment below if you have any questions for Feher, and subscribe. We'll see you again in the next video. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.